Yeah, dude, I feel like I've been sick for like 3 months. And I don't know. It's like it started off like you get sick, right? You wake up with a scratchy throat. You're like, okay, I just gotta like power through this
Yeah.
2 or 3 days. And then it's like you hit day three and you're like, okay, I feel mostly better. But then it's like you only feel mostly better for like 3 months. I don't know if it's COVID. I don't know what it is, but it's like driving me nuts.
Yeah, I know. Mine started like the last day on our cruise ship. And I know that's like everybody's worst fear on a cruise
Yeah.
ship. And I was like, I got something here. Because it's like an airplane. You're all like on this. That's like the risk of it. That's the downside of it. Worth it, in my opinion. But
Right. I remember back in 2021, in the middle of COVID, our family went to Hawaii, and we
huh.
had to, in order to go to Hawaii back then, you had to have like a
Yeah.
clear COVID test within 3 days. So we took the tests, sent them out. Like it was like this whole dramatic thing because I dropped them off at the UPS store too late. They had already left. There was no guarantee we were going to get it back in time. We did. I mean, we were just like holding our breath. We got all of our results back in time. We're free and clear. Like we were getting on the plane at 5 in the morning or something like that the next
Yeah.
day. But we got it all. We didn't even pack because we're like, we might not be able to go. We all felt fine, but we're like, maybe we haven't. We don't know. We got it all free and clear. Like an hour before we land, I start to get this scratch in my throat and I'm coughing. And I just felt so sick for like the first few days of being in Hawaii. And then we're at dinner one day and I'm like, I can't taste anything. And I totally
Oh
got
no.
COVID. Like, I mean, I got it on the
Yeah.
plane. I was like, I didn't have it 3 days ago when I sent it in, thankfully. But then 3 days later, I start feeling like crap. And
Well, and did you have to do the same thing to get home?
it
Or
was just to get
okay.
there. You just had to have it to
Yeah.
get to Hawaii. And the mainland, they were like, whatever, come back.
It's so weird. Even we're only like, I don't know what, 3 years past. And it's so weird to look back at the things we did. And it's like, I cannot believe we did
It doesn't
that.
even seem real. Like
It
looking
doesn't.
back on it, I like can't believe that I'm like in disbelief that it actually happened.
Well, and then like, and at the time it was all conspiracies. And now, like, everybody's like, oh yeah, like it was all set up. You're like, what? Like, it's
I
just
know,
so like
I know.
accepted now.
It's
Yeah.
so weird. It's so weird. Yeah, especially like I think about that now every time I go to a show. And I'm at a show and
Yeah.
I'm just like bumping into people. I'm sweaty. People are like getting their sweat and spit and everything all over you. And you're just like, this was like unheard of. And
Oh, yeah.
this is like, it's so weird. It's so weird to think that
It's
was
so
our world
weird.
for a while.
Yeah.
But other than getting sick, how was the cruise?
Man, it was so awesome. 10 out of 10 experience. I love it. I've been talking to a lot of people because like everybody asks, like, oh, how was it? And I've come to this conclusion that there's two types of people in this world. There's cruise people, and then there's people that hate cruising. And the people that hate cruising are wrong. Like cruising is
Yeah.
awesome. Everything is taken care of. There's so much entertainment and
Yeah.
food and drinks and like whatever you're into.
Yeah.
Something that was new for us on this cruise is they had a comedy club on
Nice.
it, and there was a different comedian every single night. And
Yeah.
so we saw a different stand-up comedian every single night, and it was
That's
cool.
cool.
It was super cool.
So I've never been on like a real cruise. The only experience I've ever had that was like close to a cruise is before we had kids. My wife and I years ago, we were in Europe and we traveled from uh Ukraine across the Black Sea down to Istanbul. And it was like a cruise ship, like the jankiest boat of all time. You've got like 4 people crammed into one room. It really was just like a glorified bus on the water. But
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had like this was like 2010. They had like a disco room where it was like one disco ball and a bunch of just like nasty, sweaty, like people smoking and dancing. It was like the weirdest thing ever. And we had just found out my wife was pregnant with our oldest. And so she was so sick the whole time. I felt so bad. But
Yeah, yeah,
um, yeah, that's the old. But other than that, I've never been on a cruise before. And I see that's the thing. I've always been like, would I enjoy it?
yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I got to try it out one day.
Yeah, I think, again, like going back to like people's vacation. Like some people want the ability to like explore and go out and do things and like not be kind of confined to
Yeah.
this area. Um, you know, but for me, man, I guess it's you just what's so appealing about it is like you just pay one price and you just
Yeah.
show up and
Yeah.
everything's taken care of. Like you don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about like agendas and schedules and like, oh, should we do this? Should we do that? And so like for I guess maybe for someone who's kind of like in charge all day and like planning things and work and school and schedule like all the sports, it's just like, man, that's like relaxing is like not having to like think about and plan
Yeah.
stuff. And it's just like
I could see that.
you show up to dinner and it's like, hey, here's like four choices. They're all awesome. You're like, what do you
Yeah.
want for dessert? What do you want for your appetizer? It's just, oh man, it's so great.
I could see that. I could see that for sure. Um, well, I managed to survive without you. It was weird doing it by myself again. I like ran out of stuff to
Yeah.
talk about,
Yeah.
but made it through. Um, I did. So this week, I know we joke about the background and I'm always like switching rooms. I think I did find a space to actually like here in town to record. So we'll
Really? You're
see.
going to rent a spot.
Yeah, hopefully, that actually works out and we'll have a little bit of, consistency with the background and stuff like that. And hopefully not have to do the digital background as much as, RIP my Nile background, but I don't think
That's
it's going to
right.
last much longer. Um, we're excited. I'm excited here. It's the NBA playoff time, and so I'm a big Suns fan, and my son, my oldest, is a Warriors fan, and they're playing each other tonight. So we got tickets. So we're gonna go do that tonight.
Sweet.
I'm gonna take the boys, yeah, and go watch the Suns and the Warriors play. I told him I have to take him because every time I've taken him to a Warriors Suns game, the Warriors have lost. So I'm like, you need to
Oh
be there
yeah.
because I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
need the Warriors to lose tonight. Um, but I did. So I put this question down here just because I was like, I have to ask Jesse about this. I feel
Give it
like
to
we've
me.
had this conversation maybe before. I think maybe this came up when like we were all at Furnace Fest. But let me set the stage a little bit here. Um, I am hanging out at home a while back. Jana's at work, kids are at school, I'm working from home. I had to run some errands. I was like, I gotta grab lunch. And my like, sun's out, it's beautiful. I'm like, what sounds better right now than In and Out? Like In and Out just sounds great. I went to In and Out and I've been to In and Out. And my question to you, as somebody who's from Southern California, why is In and Out so bad?
What
why
is wrong with
why
you?
is
What
In and
is
Out
wrong with
so
you?
so here's the deal, okay? Listen. I grew up in Montana, no In and Out. I remember like I was probably in high school when I first went to California, tried In and Out, and it, like there was all the hype around it. And I remember being like, this is fine, this is okay. And then like over the years, and obviously like we've got them all over the place here, in the valley in Phoenix. But every time I go, it's like it gets worse and worse every time I try it. And this
Stop it.
last time I went to In and Out, I was like, this tastes like nothing. This tastes like crusty nothing. And I was so mad. Not only, and I know this is people will rage, I'm sure. I have another friend who's from
Blasphemy.
Oxnard, and he just like he hates it when I talk about this. But I was just like, dude, not only is this not only is this like a bad burger, this is like the worst food I've ever had in my
Like
life.
I don't
So
even know how we're friends. Like this is like we might just end the podcast here
that's
because I don't know if I can work with somebody who doesn't like In and Out.
I man, I have tried and I'm just like, what am I missing? What do I not understand about this when I was
I think
eating
we
it?
have talked about it. I grew up in California. I was born down
Yeah.
in Southern California, raised up in Northern, and it's like it is to me, it is California. When I lived in
Yeah.
Montana, I had withdrawals. Like when we would come back to California, it was the first stop. We would fly back. The airplane, it's like you Google where's the closest In and Out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm sure there's some like nostalgia there. I'm sure as a kid it was like inexpensive.
Sure. Sure.
The people hate on the fries, but you can like watch them cut the fries from back. They like stick a potato in the thing, they cut it, and I don't know. I think it's amazing. You got to get
Yeah.
it. Double double animal style is.
Maybe that's
The
what I need to try.
world's greatest
Uh,
burger. Ah,
man.
man.
And I
I, I
know,
have a
like,
I have a very similar story though. I mean, I grew up
okay,
loving it. I mean, I
yeah,
still love it. I could have it for every meal. My kids love it. But when I was in Montana, we took like a trip down with a bunch of college kids. It was like a service trip down into Mexico. So we fly into San Diego and we're like, all right, guys, we're gonna take you to In-N-Out. It's the greatest thing on earth. They're all like hyped. They've never had it. A bunch of Montana kids that have like never left the state before or
yeah,
seen the
yeah,
ocean. And we're like, we're just gonna be California all the way. Take them into In-N-Out. There's the long line. There's always a line. They got you wait for your number. You go get your pink lemonade. The whole experience. And one of the kids, I was like, all right, you got to get your burger animal style. I was like, it's like a hidden menu. And so he's like, all right, he's trying to remember. He gets up there and he's like, I would like a double double doggy style. And we all just lose it. But they
that's
like said the same
perfect.
thing that you did. Like
That's
these
perfect.
will have no taste buds. So because
Yeah.
they all were like, oh, they're like, Five Guys is better. Five Guys is not better. Are you kidding me?
Man, I literally was thinking as I was like driving away, angry that I just spent, even though it wasn't a lot of money, which is great.
Yeah.
I just was driving. I was like, everything that I didn't like about that meal is the opposite at Five Guys. Like, I know
Yeah.
it's hard to compare, right? Five Guys is like barely fast food. It's so expensive. It's not super fast. I was like, man, Five Guys, it's so juicy. It's
Oh,
so
it's
flavorful. Oh man, the fries are perfect. I think I would I'm just digging the hole deeper. I would eat at any fast food restaurant. I
stop
would eat
that.
at like some
It's so
back
absurd.
alley Culver's
You're so
before I eat
wrong
it.
in
And
this. Oh man, I don't
dude,
know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, that was what all these like college kids from Montana said too. They said like, let's just they copied Five Guys. First of all, they did not copy Five
yeah,
Guys.
I would not go that far. I would not go that far to say that they copied Five Guys. That's why I think it's funny that like Five Guys
Yeah,
and In and Out are always the ones that are compared because I'm like, it's
I
not
know.
a
It's like the
fair comparison.
colors. It's like the aesthetics.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
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 But
I just always laugh with Five Guys. I'm like, dude, if you were allergic to peanuts, like,
oh,
there's just
R.I.P.
like
It's over
peanut shells. Everyone's just eating peanuts everywhere.
for
I just laugh
real.
because like our kids' school has such strict, like, no peanut things. And I always get so
Everywhere.
annoyed. It's like, dude, you know how bad I wish I could just make you a peanut butter and jelly for lunch and you can't. I'm like, dude, it would just be some kid's worst nightmare if you were allergic to peanuts in there.
You want to go to Five Guys?
Yeah, dude.
Uh,
Man, whatever. Man, maybe people have different opinions, but I'm trying to figure it out. But dude, bands you should know. Bands I think
let's do
people
it.
should know. This has been like such a good year for me. This has been such a fun year for just like I feel like I'm traveling back in time because, like, with some of the revival core that's going on, but like with that revival core, it's just bringing me back to some of this old metalcore, but especially like old hardcore. I know I said in a couple episodes ago, I've been on this like East Coast kick with a lot of like New York hardcore, stuff like that. But then, like, through some of the social media conversations we've been having, talking about like, crowd killing and beatdown and stuff like that, and really thanks in large part to this guy that I follow on Instagram. His name is Luke Polton. His Instagram handle is at vegan Luke. Do you follow him at all? Have you seen him?
No, I'm not
He's
familiar.
awesome. He's like one of my favorite people on Instagram. He's like this hardcore guy from the UK, and he like loves Wallace and Gromit too, and like collects a bunch of like Wallace and Gromit stuff like that in that Aardman world. I think he's great. He does this whole thing like weekly. He does kind of like similar to us. He'll do like, here's bands you should listen to, but a lot of them are mostly like UK or like European hardcore bands. And so he posted something about this band kind of making a comeback. And all of a sudden I was like, man, I remember listening to these guys, but this band is called Special Move. Somebody mentioned them when we had that whole, in the comments about, beat
Yeah.
down and, crowd killing and stuff like that. Special Move rips. Like, these guys were so great. Their last album came out in like 2008. Um, but they were so instrumental in the UK hardcore scene, especially like the beatdown. Like it's, you listen to Special Move, it's like their snare drum is its own separate instrument. You've got like a guitar player, a bass player, a drummer, and just like the snare. I mean, it's so sick. Their beatdown style is so good, super heavy. And they just recently teased something on Instagram where it was like, their kick drum with like the Special Move logo on it, and it has the date October 17th on there. So I think, sounds like they're
Oh,
gonna do some sort of a comeback. But yeah, I mean, like when you listen to them, it's like it's got, it sounds like Hatebreed, Kickback, One Second Thought. More recently, sounds like Missing Link. So there's a lot of influence I think that this band had that is still like echoed today with the call outs, with the samples, at the beginning of songs, all that stuff. So Special Move, I've been on like Special Move has like come back into my playlist, and I couldn't be happier because I'm like, oh man, I missed these guys, and I didn't listen to them enough when they were in their prime. And
yeah.
so yeah, conversation on social media, Vegan Luke on Instagram. I was like, oh man, that's right. Special Move was awesome back in the day. So excited to see them making a comeback.
Oh, that's awesome. I always feel the same way too when I find a band that like was in their prime and then kind of ended, and then you get onto them and you're like, these guys are sick. When can
Yeah,
I see them? And then you look and like, oh, they haven't put out anything for 10 years,
exactly.
and like, oh
Yep.
dang it, I missed them. But
I know.
yeah,
I know.
yeah. But then you've got these these festivals that sometimes these bands come back to. You can look for them there. Sweet. All right. My band that I think everybody should know about this week. So I'm going back to the revival core. I can't get off this subgenre. Before I went on my cruise and like logged off, I had no Wi-Fi, no cell service. And so I downloaded a bunch of stuff and downloaded, Spotify like recent listens. And these guys kept popping up. So and then I had no idea though until I did my research this week. So the band is called Seraph. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And they do the kind of like the double X,
Hmm.
straight edge thing in their name, like Weapon X and a lot of those old straight edge bands. Here's the crazy thing about these guys. These kids, actual kids, are like 15, 16 years old. And they rip. Like I listen to them legit. It's not like one of those cheesy kind of corny, like every now on Instagram, like, oh, these kids are cute. They're covering
Yeah.
nerdy or something.
Hmm.
This is like legit talented, writing their own music, signed to Days. And they're so gnarly. Like they remind me a lot of Seven Angels, Seven Plagues. Like they have that like kind of gritty sound, like Misery Signals, always throw out Poison the Well, Sky Came Falling, that early 2000s metalcore. I mention it every time, but they're in that same ballpark. But go look at their Instagram page. Like they're so young. It's crazy. It's
Crazy.
literally like my oldest son in a year or two
Yeah.
signing to Days and writing like early 2000s metalcore. It's crazy. So
Wild. Yeah.
which it kind of made me think about it. Would that be weird if I went to one of their shows?
I
Like,
I have the exact same thought with bands like
yeah,
this. Like if you're like in your 30s just raging in the pit to like these
yeah,
teenagers on stage, but I'm like, whatever, dude, I guess. Like,
no,
I
because
don't
they're
know.
so good. Like, I don't want
Yeah.
to discredit it at all. It's kind of like I've got to this point in my life where I used to love wearing jerseys, like
Mm.
sports jerseys with players on the back. But now I've got to this weird spot where, like, this is like an 18-year-old kid's name I'm wearing on the back of my jersey.
I have
Is
had
it?
that thought.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
but
still
like with
do it,
sports
but
too. Yeah.
yeah.
I have had that thought because like a while back, I was like, I feel like I need a new, because I'm a Raiders fan. It's like, I need a new
Yeah.
Raiders fan. It was like, oh, we drafted, Ashton Genty. It's like, oh, we'll probably get Fernando Mendoza. But then I was like, I don't know why it feels weird.
I
Why
don't
does
know
it feel
why
weird?
either. It
But it's
used to
like,
be more like a peer, but now
exactly,
when they're
exactly.
closer to my kids' age than my age, maybe that's what it is. There's like that
Yeah.
threshold of like,
Yep.
I'm like wearing my kids peer. I don't know. But
Yeah,
anyways.
it is. I was like, "I'll get a Charles Woodson jersey instead, and then I'll
Yeah,
play it safe," you
exactly.
know? It is a little
Exactly.
bit weird. It's that weird threshold. I didn't it was like, it kinda caught me off guard. Like,
Me
getting
too.
older, you expect a lot of things, but then all of a sudden, especially when you're, like, in the scene and you're not listening to, like, the same kind of music that a lot of people in their, like, 30s and 40s are listening to, you're like,
Totally.
"Oh, yeah, well, it's like if I wanna stay, current with new bands, they're gonna be the same age as my kids," you know? And that's just the way that it goes.
Well, yeah, well, we've talked about my son Jackson, 14 years old, listens to such different music. He's into like that kind of like vibey rap, like very, I don't know, I'd say like that's like mainstream right now. And it's like, I don't know any bands in that scene. I have no idea. Like, and I feel old listening to that, But like these kids, like I would go to their show if
Yeah.
they came to town, you know?
Well, and here's, I think, one of the things too, though, that I appreciate, which makes it easier to get into it, is, and we've talked about this before, this really deep, I think, appreciation for the older bands. Like, we call, it's called revival chords because they're going back to this music from the
Right.
early 2000s that we listened to, and they were kids are not even born yet, and they're going back
Yeah.
and they're bringing that back because they have this appreciation for it. So, like, I can get behind that. I think that's pretty cool.
I agree. Respect.
Yeah,
Respect to those, kids bringing it back.
that's
Same,
right.
I'll mention them every single week because I still listen to them every day. Ends in Tragedy. Same thing. They're, like, killing it down there. Also, I just saw they're opening for Poison the Well in Australia this summer. I would do anything to go there to that
Crazy.
show. That would be so sick. And, Haywire. They're with
Haywire
Haywire
too.
too. Ah,
I
what a
know, I
lineup.
know. So in the early days of the Dads Who Mosh podcast, my friend Jake did a guest spot on this podcast, and he lives in Melbourne with his family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how
Yeah.
do we figure this out? But, um, dude, so I kind of laid the groundwork for this last week when I was by myself. Told
Yeah.
everybody I was going to ask you, and this is like what really sparked on. And we kind of talked about this, but then also what's funny is like when you start like getting engaged with people, like whether it's our social media posts or like other hardcore posts and stuff like that, you always get people that are like, oh, that's not heavy. That's not hard. And stuff like that. And there's like purists within the community that they're like, nothing's heavy unless it's this band or unless it's death metal or beat down or whatever it is. Um, and what I think is funny is I think everybody has those bands where like secretly they don't turn it off if they're by themselves. They're like singing along, and they would never admit to anybody that they like these bands, but like secretly they do. So we're going to get really vulnerable here. We're going to
Oh.
expose ourselves at least a little bit, and just open the door to be roasted because I'm sure we will. Um, so the one I'm like laughing already because it's
I
so
know, me
dumb.
too.
It's
Me
so
too. I
stupid.
didn't wanna write mine down because I wanted your honest reaction.
I
Also, like,
didn't
I
either.
might have taken mine too far. We'll see, we'll see.
I might have too. That's what I was thinking because this is not anywhere near the hardcore genre.
Me
It's
too.
rock music, but it's not anywhere near the hardcore genre. Bro, I've never even said this sentence out loud.
But yes, I
I've
can't wait.
thought it. I've thought it to myself in the car, like when this band comes on.
You're like, "I kinda
Bro,
like these guys."
I love Breaking Benjamin.
Oh, no.
I love Breaking Benjamin. They're so bad. But like every time I'm in the car, I'm like, this man, this man rules, dude. This man is so good. Every single I think you could take like I think they have like 30 words or like 30 phrases and just rearrange those phrases for every single song that they do. I don't know what it is. I don't it's like his voice. I don't
Oh,
know what it is,
he's
but it's one of those bands where when they come on the radio, I was like, "We'll just leave it on."
Oh my
I
god.
love
My
I
my
love
favorite
Breaking
part of that is,
Benjamin.
like, how genuinely embarrassed you are. You're
I'm
like, "I've
so
never said this
embarrassed.
out loud before."
I have never said it out loud. It's so anti
Oh.
everything that, like,
Oh.
I feel like I stand for in music, but and what's so funny is I don't know if you've ever there's this guy, another guy on Instagram called I think it's like Stanley WS. He did like the coming out of Mosh retirement videos. Did you
Yeah.
ever see those?
Yes,
He
yes, yes. The
he
bald
did
guy,
one
right?
and
At the
yeah, I laughed so hard at one because he was talking about, like, bringing his nephew or it was, like, his son or, like, stepson or something like that to a show, and, he was like, "But I don't" he's like, "I don't like my son because his favorite band is Breaking Benjamin."
hit too close to home for
Oh,
you.
man.
Oh, that's
I don't even
so
care
funny.
anymore. I don't even care
I will
anymore.
never I'll never
I'm
listen I will never, like,
37.
listen to them the same. Like, if that ever pops
Ugh,
up on my Sirius radio, oh,
man.
that's so funny.
That's mine. I don't know if yours
Oh,
is
that was
anywhere
good.
near. I don't care
Alright.
what anyone thinks. I'm coming out of the Breaking
He's
Benjamin closet.
hey,
I
when
love Breaking Benjamin. If I was sitting home alone and I was playing Halo 2 with Code Red and Breaking Benjamin on for like 12 hours, I would be a happy guy.
can't I'm not trying to flex. I can't even, like, name one Breaking Benjamin song. Like, I can't, like, I oh,
Uh,
man.
man. Well,
Alright,
there you
well,
go. I can't
see,
imagine yours is worse than that, but I mean,
I don't
maybe it
know.
is.
I don't know. So alright, so for me, I went in a different direction. I didn't even
Okay,
go in the
okay.
hard rock I didn't go in the hard rock scene or, like,
Yeah,
rock
yeah,
scene. My guilty pleasure that I don't want anyone to know
yeah.
is that, like, I secretly love some, like, reggaeton music, like some,
Okay.
like, Hispanic, Latin, down in SoCal, you're down at the carne asada, they got the music on. I get down with that. I love it, man. Also, I'm the white guy that, like, when they announced it was Bad Bunny, I was stoked, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody's like, "Bad Bunny, he doesn't even sing in English." I'm like,
So
"What? He's
dumb.
awesome." I was so
So
excited for
dumb.
Bad Bunny. Um, down down in Southern California, when La Chona comes on, it's by, Los Tucanes de Tijuana. Oh, man, that's a banger. So,
Okay,
oh,
okay.
that's my guilty pleasure. But, like, yeah, I don't know.
But
I don't know which one to be
imagine this though. You're at a taco stand and Diary of Jane comes on by Breaking Benjamin. And maybe here's part of it, I think maybe. I like this is something I know we've like, gone back and forth, like we need, maybe share like our like how we got into hardcore. A lot of it, again, like living in Montana, I had such a limited
Yeah,
like amount of music. I had a rock station and like I would listen to some of these bands on the radio, like Breaking Benjamin or Korn or Chevelle or System of a Down and bands like that. And I would be like, man, I wish they would be heavier. I don't know
yeah.
what it is, dude. When you like, if someone were to like write a poem and it was Breaking Benjamin lyrics and you didn't realize, you'd be like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I
It's like it's
I
like when
don't.
Creed it's like Creed used to get roasted for, like, the
Yeah,
same song, like, just different,
yeah.
but then, like, Creed got popular again, so I don't know how
Dude,
that happened.
the whole Creed thing drives me nuts. I'm like, you guys keep messing around with Creed. Nickelback is next. Like,
Yeah.
trust me when I say it. Like, the funny thing with Creed is, like, when Creed started getting big again, it was a joke, right? Like,
Yeah,
all
exactly.
these, Gen Zers and stuff are like,
Yeah.
taking their shirts off at Creed concerts and, like, they were making fun of
They
it.
were trolling him. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Scott Stapp from Creed, I guarantee you, does not
Had no
understand that he's
idea.
being yeah,
Yeah.
he's just like, "They love
Kids
me.
love me.
These guys
Yeah.
love me." And they he just is, his career is revived,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
all just one giant joke, and I guarantee he doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, that was so good. That was maybe
that's
the best segment we've ever done.
that's the only one. I'm not telling anybody anything else.
That's right.
That's the
That's as
most
vulnerable
vulnerable
as we
I've
get here.
ever been
Yeah, exactly.
on this show,
Exactly. Well,
but
I mean, the thing I wanted to ask you about today,
yeah.
so this goes right into our crowd killing. We've had a lot of
Okay. Yeah,
discussion
yeah,
about that. People seem to be very
yeah.
fired up and have a lot of opinions about this, as they should. So, because as we've established here at Dad to Mosh, crowd killing is always okay
Right.
at every show,
Right, that's right.
uh, especially
Especially
Sleep
Sleep
Token.
Token, and the next time I go to a Breaking Benjamin concert
Yeah.
without telling anybody, I'm gonna crowd kill.
There was somebody in the comments of that, like, viral one we had, and he's like,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna wear noise canceling headphones to a Sleep Token and just crowd
I
kill
lost
everyone."
it. This guy
Yeah,
gets it. That's so
yeah.
funny. Yeah.
But anyway, so as we're having that discussion, the day I got back from my cruise, I actually went to a show and I saw some local bands. I saw Meadows came over from Alabama, actually. Awesome band. Shout out Meadows. Undertaking, local San Diego, just so much fun. Great guys. And then the headliner was No Innocent Victim. And so what was really cool about this show, it was all ages. It was at a local brewery here, very local show. Everyone knew each other, a lot of families there, a lot of kids. There was young kids because a lot of their dads are playing in the bands. With No Innocent Victim just being like OGs, you had a lot of old heads there. There's a there's a video I reposted in the pylon, and I'm like in the bottom of the pylon. But what's funny is it's like all old dudes, like on top of the
Yeah.
pylon. Like it's like nobody under 30 in that pylon. So it's really funny. But it got a little rowdy. No Innocent Victim is heavy. They're old school, and it was cool. There were some teenagers throwing down, two stepping. And there's some old guys two stepping. Me and Marco got active in the pit.
Yep.
James, who we went to Furnace Fest, was
Yep.
there getting active. It was so much fun. But what I wanted to ask your thoughts on is there was a lot of kids at this show, and there's a lot of kids that don't know the rules, and there's a lot of parents there that maybe don't know the rules.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not advocating for crowd killing some little kids
Right.
standing on the
Right.
corners, but there was an incident where just out of kind of two stepping in the middle of the mosh pit, like a younger kid caught an arm, and it's like, well, is that is that on the parents to say like kind of know the rules of the pit? Is that on the mosher to kind of like keep an eye out on like, hey, there's like young kids here? Is that on I don't know, like who is that on? What are the rules? What are the unwritten rules of the pit here when it comes to an all ages show?
Yeah. Um, as you were saying that, I was thinking too. So, like, when I was growing up, it was my parents at the time when I was raised, they were a little freaked out, but, by the music I listened to,
Yeah.
grew up in a more like conservative Christian home. And so, you know, I ended up listening to a lot of like Christian hardcore and metalcore because I was like, oh, mom and dad, they're Christians. It's fine. What's funny is
Mhm.
it's kind of similar. Like I remember like youth group kids would go see like, the Scream the Prayer tour or something like that, be like For Today, Impending Doom, all these
Yeah,
like, Christian
exactly.
hardcore bands. And, at those shows, like there's pits, but it's like youth group kid pits. Like people are kind of shoving into each other. It's not really a thing. But then like I would see those same kids go to like actual hardcore shows, and it's kind of the same vibe. They like try to jump in, and I'm almost like, hey, like maybe don't, because I don't think this is what you think it is. And it's kind of the same. Like I was thinking, I grew up thinking that with or trying to think about that whole thing with kids too. Like, is it you bring kids to a show? I think I've finally decided, like, I think it's great. I think, like, bringing your kids to a show is awesome.
I agree.
But it's very much like, and I've never done it. I've tried, like I said, I've shared, on the podcast here before, like my youngest has Tourette's. And so it's like one of those things where like, I just think if he was in an environment where he doesn't have to hold still and he could just go all out, I think he would love it. And he's like,
Dude,
I don't
totally.
want to go, dad. But
Yeah.
you kind of just like you have to know what's going on. So I think like it's great to bring kids when you're somebody that is really like familiar, like grew up in this scene, you understand the scene, you understand when it's like, hey bud, like time to come back. We're gonna hang back. I
Yes.
know you want just to be aware. And it's like what let them sit back and watch it. There's shows where it's really cool where like sometimes like people are up front with their kids and the kids end up on stage and stuff like that. Like I think that's cool. But it takes a really specific crowd and like, I don't know, band to like do that. But the rest of it, I'm all for. Like one of the most recent shows I went to, I think it was that Burials one. There was a couple there, which I don't know. Sometimes you're like, are you bringing your kid here because you want them to experience hardcore or because like you're an irresponsible parent, kind of a thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you
I've
want to
seen
go to the
both
show.
too.
Yeah, you want to go to the
Yeah.
show and drink and get wild, and it's like you don't have a babysitter.
Yeah.
Last time you left your kid with a babysitter, you didn't come back for like 4 days, kind of a thing. So, um,
Well, and then there's that, and then okay, there's the other annoying thing, and I can say this as a parent of 3, but there's, like, the parents that just, like, crowd surf their kids over and over, and
yeah,
it's like an attention thing or
yes, yeah,
I don't know. I think with all of this, and we've talked about this with like push pit versus hardcore dancing versus crowd killing, and now
yeah,
like kids at a show. There's this unwritten like rule of the crowd, of the mosh pit, of the whole show, and it just changes based on the bands.
yeah,
It can change from like band to band at the same show. Even I think that there's like a something you kind of have to learn and understand in order to stay
yeah.
safe out there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen, been all kinds of shows, and like you see, like every once in a while, there's a kid in the pit, and they're trying out
Yes.
hardcore dancing, and I think that's awesome. I
Yeah.
think it's awesome to a point because
Like
it's like
once. Yeah, get like once
exactly,
and then get them out of
exactly.
there. I
Do your
totally
thing,
agree.
but then it's
Yeah.
like because most of the people, as we've said at these shows, most of the people at hardcore shows are good people. So it's like if there's a kid that's in there, most people are going to kind of like, okay, got to step back. But then that kind of kills it for us because it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be responsible for hurting this kid. Can you please get your kid out of here? Like, let him try it, but then like get him
Yes.
out of, let
Well,
it be a
and
learning experience.
as a dad who moshes, a lot of times I'm at this show to get a little break from my kids and
Yes.
let loose and
Yes.
like, just express myself and like not have to be worried about my
Yeah.
kids and them getting hurt. And
Yeah.
so, then like that fatherly instinct was like, now there's this kid in the pit. It's like, I'm looking out for them. I know that, just like
Exactly.
naturally, like, like, and so again, I'm not advocating not bring them, but like, it's so important, like understanding the
Yeah,
etiquette and the
I think
rules
so.
behind it. Yeah.
It's like yeah, it's like the same parents that let their kids get a tattoo when they're, like, 15 years old. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. I told my kids, I don't even think it's like, that's the weird thing is it's like, I wanted to get tattoos because my dad didn't have tattoos. I have tattoos,
Exactly.
now it's like the cool thing for my kids is not to get tattoos. I think, they wanna be the opposite, but it's like, I'm not gonna let you get a tattoo. You're 12, I'm not gonna let you stay in the pit. So I think it's great. Yeah, I think it's awesome. If you wanna take your kid, let them hang back, you know, check it out, gain experience, see what's going on. Then you turn 18, go get a tattoo and jump in the pit, and or maybe a little bit older, obviously. But um, yeah, I don't know. I guess that's where I'm at with all that.
Yeah. I think it makes sense.
Yeah. But um, but yeah, I don't know. The kids need to learn the rules. Maybe you just need to do. Was it Marco? Was Marco the one that he sent us that video? Was he doing like crowd killing with his kids in the garage, or was
Yeah.
that like
Yeah.
yeah, you just need
Yeah,
to
that was Marco.
practice. You gotta
That's right.
practice with your kids before you throw them in.
That's
Um,
right.
dude, you got a lot of I didn't have, like, anything in hardcore news, that's how you, like,
Okay.
really know, like, when Jesse's gone, he does
Yeah.
the bulk of the work here with a lot of these
Oh,
segments.
no, that is not
But,
true. I just saw these things that jumped out to me. So,
yeah,
first off, while I'm on a cruise, well, actually, we pulled into Mexico. We got like a little bit of service. It was like the very last day, and I see that. No, actually, it was in Long Beach. It wasn't until we got to Long Beach. We get into Long Beach. We're getting off, and I get this notification that A Day to Remember is putting on their own festival at sea. I don't know if there's like a term for it. They're basically doing what the emo cruise is
mhm,
doing, but it seems to be kind of put on by A Day to Remember.
yeah,
And then I look at their lineup, and the lineup is so sick. It looks way better than the emo cruise. And
yeah,
I've always wanted to go on the emo cruise just because it's like, as I've already said, combination
yeah,
of my two favorite things in this world.
yeah,
Cruising, concerts at the same, like, sign me up.
yeah, yeah,
So it is like my life's mission. I got to figure out how to get on this boat. I got to figure out how convince my wife to let me on this boat, or I
right,
can like, I don't know, get a second job or something.
uh
Like I got to get on this boat. That
yeah,
Knocked Loose is going to be there with
yeah,
the Day to
yeah,
Remember, Dying Wish, like so it looks awesome. Oh yeah, Spite. Yes, yes. Yeah.
cruise ship, I'm always every time I saw, like, clips from the emo cruise, I was like, "Does it it's not gonna sink, right?" Like, if everybody's jumping at once, it's not because I just have, like, no concept of what, like, a cruise ship is like. Like, are we all gonna die? Are we all gonna sink? But apparently not. Apparently, it's pretty
It's
steady.
massive. It's like it's the biggest it's crazy, yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah,
don't even notice. But yeah,
I think that would be a ton of fun.
oh man, yeah. Like I said, I'm figuring out how I can make it work. So,
Yeah.
um, it would just be so awesome. It's in Florida. So if it left out of California, like if it left out of Long Beach like our
Mm,
cruises, it'd be so much easier, but you gotta the cruise is expensive and you gotta get there. You probably have to stay the day before. So that's like kind
yep,
of the downsides.
yep. We'll
Um,
start a GoFundMe
yes,
for
there we
Nate and
go.
Jesse
Perfect.
to go
Yes.
on the big
Get
old
us on
boat
that boat.
festival. That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
Yeah,
Get
we
us
could do
on
some
that boat.
content or something. I don't know.
There's gotta be a way. There's gotta be a way. We'll
Yeah,
figure it
that's what I'm
out.
saying. All right. Okay, so the next one. So, this Brady Ebert from Turnstile. Have you been following this drama?
I just like I see stuff pop up every day, and every time
Every
it pops up,
day.
I'm like, "Oh, I saw that," but it's like, "Oh no, this is something different. This is not what was news yesterday. This is something totally new."
Yeah, exactly. So, in this week that I'm gone, like 5 more things happen every day. There's like a different article on Lamb Goat every day that's got this
Yeah.
guy's name on it.
Yep.
So, apparently he was in a different band, after Turnstile, after the set, and then he's in this
Yep.
band called Experience, which I don't know why they're letting him in the band. He gets kicked out of that band. So and I think we've already talked that he got arrested for attempted murder of Turnstile's lead singer's father, who's like severely hospitalized, right? So then this audio gets leaked of him in court, kind of going crazy. I don't know if you listen to it, but like he sounds like a madman. He's claiming self-defense while running over an elderly gentleman. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it just it makes no sense. The guy's turned into like the Kanye West of
I was gonna
hardcore. It's
say,
just
I was
like
gonna say Antonio Brown, but like, yeah,
Antonio
he's just,
Brown,
yeah,
like something.
yeah,
Um, and then so big news. Turnstile was at Coachella, which it's like a whole other thing. Is like hardcore at Coachella is a
yeah,
thing now.
yeah,
But Turnstile starts their set playing a video of the lead singer's dad talking about the incident and like how proud he is of his son and the band. It's just like, dude, that guy is down bad. Like he's
yeah.
like all of Coachella and everyone who's watching Coachella remotely and everyone who's tweeting about Coachella is like, oh, now who's this Brady Ebert guy?
Yep,
He
yep,
went from like insignificant, kicked out of band to
yeah,
like I don't know. He's like all over the news now. So
yep.
just so much drama. It's crazy. You don't
It
see
is
this in the
wild.
hardcore scene.
No,
Maybe you
no.
do. We've been talking about it every week, but
Yeah, right, but it's like maybe once, like, a band reaches, like, a certain level of popularity, all of a sudden there's drama that comes with that, but,
yeah.
um, yeah, I saw that, and I think, it's cool because I think, speaking of Coachella, there's been, hardcore bands for the last, like, few years. I know Speed played Coachella, Knocked Loose played,
Yeah.
this year was Turnstile and Drain was there, so it's cool.
I love it.
we're in this new world, man, where hardcore is becoming mainstream, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Um, yeah, we've talked about that a lot. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, Coachella, okay, maybe this is like a Southern California thing too, a Southern California take, but it's like Coachella, I know it's got this like, it's all influencers, it's all
yeah,
like, but it's like mainstream without being mainstream, if that makes like, it's
sure,
like, they're like a lot of, they bring a lot of like DJs and kind of underground, like they help a lot of bands, I think, kind of get their,
that's
like,
cool.
they take these bands that are like up and coming and give them a stage, like
Yeah,
Knocked Loose, and
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's cool. It gets a lot of hate. Growing up in California, like before influencers were a thing, it was always like everybody like, oh, you got to go to Coachella.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's turned into something bigger. I saw some of the like ticket prices now, and
yeah,
you've got like Kardashians going and
yeah,
NFL quarterbacks. That is
yeah, yeah. Katy
crazy.
Perry's there. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Also,
crazy.
okay, not hardcore news. Did you see the Justin Bieber set?
I saw news about it. Yeah, like I saw because what did he just like? took crowd suggestions for songs or something, or
Yeah,
like
I thought it was so cool. I
it
like
kind of is. Yeah.
my take on it. There's two takes on it, or and now we're talking Justin Bieber on this
Yeah,
Dex.
right. Here we
But
are.
it's like
It's
he
not
got up
heavy.
there with his laptop and he just like
Yeah.
played his old songs, and it was just like the most kind of like organic, cool, chill, like
Punk
not
rock. I thought it was
flashy.
punk rock. Yeah. Like him doing
Exactly.
that. I'm like, that's cool, man. Good for
Exactly.
you. Good for you. Um, so far, like I'm giving props to Justin Bieber talking about Breaking Benjamin.
Yeah, that's right. That's
I
right. Oh man, we're gonna get torn apart with this
I
episode.
know. I know. Um,
Um, the last one I
yeah,
want to
yeah,
do
yeah.
on news is there was this. So, Terror's got their new album coming out. We've been talking about all their singles. Every single they've put out is a banger. I love
So
it. I don't know
good.
how it's so good. Like genuinely love all of it. And so they teamed up with this famous kind of LA
Mhm.
t-shirt company, like clothing line, very like exclusive pop-ups, limited editions, born and raised. And so they did this like free pop-up show in LA. Man, I had so much FOMO. The videos of it
I
are
know.
insane. There's people
So
hanging
great.
from the rafters,
Yeah.
jumping off the rafters, just the most like LA terror free show. It was so cool. I
So
wanted to be
awesome.
there so bad.
So awesome. Yeah, no, I know. I was watching that. It just, it just well, I was gonna say it drives the knife in deeper, but I think I'm still gonna try to get to see them when they play Flagstaff. So
Yeah, that's right. Because you have family or something. Oh no, you have
yeah,
another concert with your
yep,
wife that day.
yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean Terror's I mean, all like you said, I agree. I mean, I think I'll always love Terror. I don't think they could put anything out. I'm probably super biased, but it's like I don't think they could put anything out that I'm like, this sucks. I just don't think it's in them. I think if they just stick to who they are as a band, they'll never put
Exactly.
out bad music because they've been so consistent for decades now. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So good, so fun. Yeah. All right, which takes us perfectly into new albums, EPs, singles. So, speaking of Terror, they've got that new album. I think it's like a week away now. They've been doing all that hype about it. They did also release that new single. This one is with the Hot Water Music.
Yeah.
This one's called Fear the Panic. Just another banger.
Yeah.
So it's been in the rotation really good. Have you checked it out yet?
I have, yep, and I like hot water music too. I thought
Yeah.
it's a cool collab. I
Yeah.
love seeing like collabs like that or like guest vocals and stuff like that. Where I'm like, I would not have thought to put Terror and hot water music together, but it works.
Does. Yeah, absolutely.
I love that you put the Body Snatcher one on here too.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to listen
I
to
did.
it?
I listened to it yesterday, and I didn't realize there wasn't like for whatever reason I missed that it actually came out. So I did listen to it all the way through yesterday. It was great.
And it's so body snatcher too.
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
said so many times these bands that like kind of go away from their core. But
but yeah,
I thought I read somewhere on like an official review of it that they've got some new members.
oh
Um like they still have the same lead singer, Kyle, who's awesome, but they've got some like new guitarists, new other members. I'm not sure.
yeah.
But they've like kept that same sound. It's two-steppy, it's heavy. It's still deathcore, but like I love the deathcore with kind of the like two-step
Yes.
hardcore.
Yeah.
It's a great combo.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like, because I was listening through the album, like, I mean, there's parts where I'm like, "Oh, this sounds like old Suicide Silence," or this
Yeah,
sounds like, um, like Whitechapel. There's some, like, technical parts that kinda sound like Whitechapel, but then they have a song with Vogel from Terror, and it's like, that sounds like a Terror song, like, it's just a
exactly.
purely hardcore song, and so, yeah, I like all the different influences that they, kind of rely on to put the album together. It was great. I thought, yeah, it was a great album. Acacia strain parts in it. It kind of
Yeah.
sounds like so. Yeah, it's a fun one to listen to for sure. Um, I threw on here. There's a band that popped up that was just some of the other people that I follow on Instagram. This band's called Time Bomb. They just put out a 4-song EP. This is a hardcore band out of Nashville. Super great EP, man. Like just solid hardcore. It's like if you're fans of Weapon X, World of Pleasure, or even like old Knocked Loose. I was listening to this and I was like, there's like bits and pieces of kind of like Knocked Loose's pop culture album or like their first EP. But I love it. And I love it because I've just like, I see a lot of really great hardcore stuff coming out of Nashville. Nashville, Tennessee has always been known for like country music. That's where everyone goes to. But it's like Orthodox is out of Nashville, Chambers out of Nashville. Craig Reynolds, who does the downbeat, the drummer from Straight from the Path, he moved from the UK, lives in Nashville. That's where, he lives. I was the granddaddy of metalcore, Andy from Plea for Purging, Bad Luck Burger. They're down in Nashville. So there's a cool, like, and they all support each other, which I love. Like when Chambers' new album came out, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, everybody from the scene down there was like, this is the best album I've ever heard. So it's just like there's really cool support system. I think with the hardcore scene in Nashville, there's just really cool stuff coming out of there, including Time Bomb. So I'm excited to see where those guys go. Hopefully we get to catch them or see them at a festival or something at some point, because I really dig it.
Sweet. That's a great pick. I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Quick listen, 4 songs, but yeah. Yeah. Great. Um, so last week, just like we're talking about the, dad stuff, mental health stuff. I don't know. We talked about, Bo from Harm's Way and Hard Lore. He keeps coming up, and I feel like it's one of those things that's not going to go away soon, but I think that's an okay thing. It's like every show now, people are talking about it. It's all over podcasts, it's a thing. There's a bunch of like, merch that's being sold as fundraisers to kind of like, donate to, certain organizations in his name and things like that. Um, one of the, I was going to ask you, like one of the, I guess like the comparison between healthy ways of relaxing and like harmful ways, because I think especially like when we grew up watching TV, watching all this stuff, it's like guys unwind by drinking a bunch, they unwind by eating a bunch, they unwind by like all kinds of like unhealthy things. And I feel like I've been in that place in my life before where you're like, I'm stressed, I owe this to myself. It's like you want that quick fix kind of a thing. I think a lot of times when, especially like as dads, husbands, guys, we feel really depressed, we feel really stressed out, we're anxious. It's like, I just need something to take care of this right away. And we get that easy fix. We go and we overeat, or we drink too much, or we go spend too much. I know guys that it's like everyone thinks that's like, oh, my wife spends so much. But it's like, I know guys that like that's how they cope. They go buy, stuff to make themselves feel better. But then it's like at the end of it all, you just feel worse. That was like, before I got sober, like that was kind of my thing with drinking. I was like, I need to drink immediately because I need to get rid of this stress, this anxiety, this depression. I need to just get rid of it immediately. And it always worked right away for like 10 minutes. And then it's like, as soon as it wears off, it comes back like tenfold. I was like, this sucks. Like this doesn't. So I think one of the things, for me has just been investing more in long-term fixes for these things, which just they're long-term, it takes longer. I used to like see people like, oh, go to the gym, work out. And I'd go to the gym and work out and be like, I don't feel better at all. Like I feel tired.
Yeah.
But then it's like you keep doing it and you're like, oh, I do feel better. And it's like, and I feel better for longer. It's not like drinking where it's like I feel good for 5 minutes and I feel awful. It's like I feel good during the workout and I feel better like throughout the day. And so I think, taking some effort and doing things, that actually helps in the long run instead of a quick fix is a big thing for guys. So I don't know if, what you think about that, or like things that like you've tried in the past that just aren't great. What's better for you? Like what for you do you feel like is a really healthy way to unwind?
Yeah, it's a tough question, as we both kind of like go through this together and figure this out like actively. I'm definitely not someone on here who's got it all figured out and be like, "Oh yeah, here's this like 10-step plan."
Yeah.
I'm someone who definitely like falls into like, man, it's been like a tough week. Friday, like can't wait to like have a beer and chill and hang out and like just kind of like, quick fix, like
Yeah.
take the edge off,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
kind of the like
Exactly.
the saying.
Yep.
Um and because there's nothing like that Friday beer of
For sure.
like you're
For
done with the
sure.
work week.
Oh yeah.
And but yeah, I mean I definitely agree with you, the gym. We talked a little bit, like I've gotten into a really good routine and rhythm of hitting the gym, not for the purpose of like, gaining this muscle or like losing this weight and like, but like going to the gym for like decompressing, like, it really does like mental clarity of like, of just getting out some of that frustration by lifting heavy things. And,
Yeah.
um, you know, so the gym is a good one. I know it's like very generic around here. Like I love walking the beach.
Yeah.
Addison and I have set up this like every Friday morning, like we drop the kids off at school. We just like go grab coffee and walk the beach. We've kind of got that built into a routine. And sounds cheesy, maybe it sounds lame, but like that sea salt air like does something. Like
It
I
does.
I can't prove that like scientifically, but there is something about that like fresh air, that ocean breeze, that crash of the ocean that just it changes my mood personally. And it just makes everything feel like it's going to be all right. So
Yeah.
that's my quick fix. And it's just getting there and kind of like it just resets you a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, and I think, and it's, I'm not on here to be like, oh, try to make anybody like sober or anything like that. It's not like the
Yeah,
point, but I think it's like people got to decide for themselves, what they want to do. And I think, I was at a point where I was like, I can't get through the day without this. So it's like, I want to change that aspect.
for sure.
But I think I also, yeah, I think I don't know, it's like investing in those long-term things, and then I think understanding that it's gonna take a while. I think so much of our culture, it's like, "Is something wrong? Here's a quick fix for it." It was the same even with, like, medication, and I'm not a doctor, like, go talk to a doctor, if you need to, but I
Yeah.
remember being on, like, antidepressants and stuff like that, and right off the bat, I'm like, "Oh, this is great. This makes me." I thought it made me feel great, but then I was like, "It's not making me feel great, it's just making me feel nothing," So it's like, and
Dang.
that can't be a long-term fix, I can't do this forever. Um, and so that's part of it. And it's, yeah, I think here, and maybe this is what I'm getting at too. I think, like, especially in our culture, like if something feels bad or it hurts or like whatever, we're like, that's bad. We have to get rid of it because like we have to feel good all the time. If you don't feel good all the time, something's wrong. What's the fix? Like you're hungry, go through the McDonald's drive-through, or God forbid, go through the In-N-Out drive-through. It's like,
Stop.
hopefully it never gets that bad. um, no, so but it's like you go do this. You're feeling depressed. Take this pill, drink this, do these drugs, whatever it is. And I
Yeah.
think what has really helped me, at least in like this mindset shift, has been like pain and hurt, like all that stuff. Like that's part of life, and you can either let it control you, or it's like I know this is here. I'm just going to ride this wave and understand that if I can do it, I'm going to be better on the other side. Cause it's like if life was just easy, we'd all just like, I don't know. It's like you don't learn, you don't grow. I think if we just or accept that pain is part of this process, we go through it. We do what we can to strengthen ourselves through it. But it's like, I think if we're in the spot where we're trying to numb the pain, we get into this vicious cycle where it's like, I always feel bad. Why do I always feel bad? And then you just feel helpless or hopeless. And I think realizing that, hey, that pain is there for a reason. And, we're meant to go through it sometimes. And there's ways to go through it. And, talking to somebody sometimes doesn't feel good right away. But the longer you talk to somebody and build a relationship, it gets better, whether that's a therapist or a friend or a spouse or whatever. It gets better. So yeah, I think that's just, I guess, I want to throw that out there, to anybody that's like going through it. Like, it's okay. Like, that stuff happens. We live in a world where that stuff, hard stuff happens. But there's ways to get through it instead of just trying to shortcut it because I think it pays off in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of the tale as old as time, right? Where it's like the slow, long progression
Yeah.
is what pays off versus like the quick fixes. And there's always these like weird side effects with quick fix, with like with quick
Yeah.
food, with quick
Yeah. Yeah.
medicine, quick dieting, quick like anything. There's
Yes.
always these like weird side effects versus like you go down the path of like losing weight. It's like you should be losing like 1 pound a week, not like 10 pounds a week. And
Yeah.
it's just or if you're like putting on muscle, like it should be the small things. Otherwise, it's just or whatever that is. It's always the better way to do it is like the slow, steady
Yeah.
path rather than going cold turkey or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's tough though, and
Yeah.
man, like, um, we created that clip, and I was listening to your episode last week, and just when you were talking about like it's okay to not be okay, I don't know, that just it just like jumped out because you're absolutely right in that we kind of are in this like I don't know, culture has changed where it's like yeah, everything has to be great, everybody has to
Mhm.
be happy, and it's and if not, yeah, what how do you just fix it? And so I don't know, even I've been like thinking about that where it's just I just thought that was so good, and you know, I made that clip of it. It's just like, yeah, it is okay, and there's people out there to help us and reach out. So just good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, holler at us if you guys, want to talk about things or
Yeah, for sure.
I know like as a goal too, Jesse and I talked about this, like with Dad's Who Mosh. I know as a goal we'd love to, just be a resource, a place to connect people with things too. So I know, we have our sights on, working on that in the future as well. But in the meantime, holler at us. We've had some dads hollering at us, not even just necessarily
Yeah.
for that stuff, but just like shows they're going to, shows they went to with their kids. We love it. So
Oh, it's been so cool to see some
yeah.
of the comment people hopping in
Yep.
our DMs. And yeah, nothing like crazy or heavy, but just saying that they like actually listen and that they like finding bands and stuff. It's been super cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, it's that time. It's that time again.
Yes, that's
Our
right. It
weekly
sure
additions
is.
to the greatest playlist of all time.
Yes.
Yours is another great. I actually was. I swear we're on the same wavelength
Yeah.
sometimes, and I go back and forth. I didn't. I put mine before I saw yours, and
Yeah.
this is such a good addition.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. It's there's so many good songs out there by these guys. So I added by the Warriors, Slings and Arrows. I had a really hard time picking which one song I wanted to add by the
Mhm.
Warriors. They're just so good. They're just such good classic hardcore. It's two-steppy, it's stompy. It just like gets you going. Like a lot of the songs that we've said. I love putting
Yep.
it on at the gym and that whole album, I think it's War is Hell. It's just so good. And it's kind of like got that like sound like Bane, Comeback Kid, kind of like mixed in with like Terror. I don't know. If you've never heard of the Warriors, you need to go check them out. Also, like you're probably not listening to this podcast if you've never heard of the Warriors, but it's just
True.
so
True.
good. It's
Yeah.
so good. Southern California bands, legends down here. Got to add it to the playlist.
Yeah, awesome. I did at the Haywire and Drain show, there was a dad at the show with his daughter. His daughter was there. The dad had a Warrior shirt on. The daughter had a Madball shirt on. I'm like, "You're doing a good job, man. You're
Yeah,
doing
that's
great.
right. That's
This is the
right.
way." No, I love it. I don't know if you remember, Knocked Loose put out an EP where they covered this song. Did you ever hear Knocked Loose's cover of this
Oh,
song?
no, I don't think
You can
so,
check it
or
out. Yeah, it's
maybe I've heard it and not kinda, like, associated
yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that whole album, that's when, trying to figure like pick a Warriors song and pick one
Yes.
from that album, um,
Yeah.
is tough. Yeah, that's a good choice. Um, for me this week, I threw on a song by The Chariot, their song "The City" from their album "Long Live." Like as my tastes and stuff like that in hardcore progress, nowadays I don't listen to The Chariot as much as I used to. I'll always still listen to them when they came on, but they were such a huge part of my journey into hardcore. I mean, I mentioned like I grew up, in this household where it's like if it wasn't Christian music, we're really scared, and so it's like The Chariot. I could always, oh, they're a Christian band. But I think when I first heard The Chariot, I had heard Norma Jean's first album that Josh was the vocalist on. He left and went and made the Chariot's first album. And it was this part of my life where I was so tired of listening to like these cookie cutter bands on the radio, except for Breaking Benjamin. I was like so tired of everything I was listening to. I was starting to like discover, like hardcore bands and stuff like that. But there was just something about that stage in my life where just the chaos of the Chariot, just like they hold nothing back. I got obsessed with the Chariot. I saw them on their farewell tour. I like always, they never came to Montana, but I used to go to shows a lot in like Spokane, Washington and stuff, but always missed them when they came through. I went to Seattle and saw them on their farewell tour. That was the first time I ever did a stage dive, and I did like 40 stage dives that night. But it was like grabbing the mic with Josh,
Yeah.
screaming into it, and with everybody in the room that just like understood. Because like the chariot was kind of like, it's like there's hardcore, and then like the chariot was almost just like this other level of hardcore, where it's like even
Yeah.
hardcore people don't get the chariot, some of them. But it's like if you got it, you got it. And it was just like another level of connection with everyone in that room. I mean, I have their skull logo tattooed on my knee. Um, Unfortunately, I have to always like give a disclaimer. This is not a Punisher tattoo. This is from the chariot because I see a lot of Punisher tattoos, and I'm like, oh no, that looks just like it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so this band means the world to me. I think this song, The City, is such a perfect chariot song. It's got the chaos, it's got great lyrics from Josh Scoggin, the gang vocals at the end. I mean, it just feels like every chariot fan in the world is just singing along, with the end of that song. So I had to get the chariot on there at some point eventually, and I kept picking other ones that were just like scooting it out of the way. I was like, okay, this is the week. I got to put the chariot on there. So The City is my addition this week to the playlist.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great pick. It fits in with our themes and our playlist, and this playlist is shaping up to be the greatest
Great.
playlist ever.
It
It's
really
so good.
is. It really
Yeah.
is. Undeniable.
All right. So the very last thing, let's close it out. We're running long on time here, but would love to just throw out some dates of shows that we've got coming up. So I was just at the I just finished up the No Innocent Victim show. My next one, May 8th, up in Pomona, Glass House. I get to see Terror, Pain of Truth, End It, Start Today. So excited for that one. That was one. As
Awesome.
soon as I saw those tickets come out, I bought them. I knew it was going to be sold out, especially being in Southern California. And then, like, right after that, like the next weekend, I'm going down to San Diego to the observatory. We got Poison the Well, Converge, Barbarian. So add them to your calendars. If you see me, come say what's up, or
Awesome.
come join me.
Yeah, awesome. I added a last minute show that's coming up in a few weeks here. I'm gonna go see at the Shadow of Intent, and Angel Maker. So it's
Yes.
like they're kind of like more the deathcore, and it's
Mhm.
not like not. I would say my favorite. I'll be if I'm in the right mood, but it was one of those things where one of the guys that I go to the gym with, he's a dad. He's a dad who moshes. He's really into like deathcore, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to the show. Do you want to go?" I was like, "Absolutely, I'll go hang out
Oh,
at that show." I mean,
totally.
that's the whole
Yeah.
reason we're doing this. So, yep, gonna go. He's got like a buddy of his that's flying in to see those guys. I
Oh,
will
that's
like.
sweet.
I'll roll with Angel Maker. I like every once in a while Angel Maker comes across my playlist and I'm
Me too.
I'm into it. But yeah, I was like, yeah, heavy music, some dads hanging out. I'm all about it. So I'm gonna go do that May 2nd at the Nile. Also, well, and later that same night at the Underground at the Nile, which is just downstairs, Desmadre is playing. They're opening for Spirit World,
Crazy.
who I've ranted about, on this podcast, Spirit World. But yeah, I may have to try to sneak away and sneak downstairs and see if I can catch Desmadre. But then May 19th, Peeling Flesh will be at the Nile as well. And then Missing Link and Bayway are opening for them. So same kind of a deal. I mean, I listen to Peeling Flesh. I don't listen to them a ton, but it's like the openers. That's a solid lineup for sure. So excited to see those guys.
I had like it must have been a dark period in my life. I had like a 6-month period where I was all about peeling flesh.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they got real trendy for a while. Like I don't know what happened, but I just loved that
yeah.
slammy pig squealy. I just couldn't get enough of it.
The
And
Shovel
then,
song was
oh yes,
that's the
yes.
one I always think of.
It's so funny. I
Yep.
sent that one to Marco when I found it, and he's like, "What in the world is this?"
Yep.
But so like peeling flesh and missing link and Bayway is such a banger lineup.
Yeah.
They are they're coming over here too, but they're like in between. I have like a show like on a weekend and a weekend, and it's like the week in between. I
Yep.
just don't think I can pull it off with
I get it.
dad's schedule. I want to so bad. I've got it like tentative, like I'm gonna like play it by ear and like, you know, we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. I would
Yeah.
love to go to that show though. That's just
Yeah.
such a also, that's that like for me, that's that sweet spot size of band. It's like big enough it's gonna be a
Yeah.
really rowdy crowd, but it's small
Yes.
enough. That's like the sweet spot.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, and we both got, heads up, everybody. We both got our tickets for Sound and Fury.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
hopefully we see some dads who mosh at Sound and Fury, waiting for them to
That's right.
release the rest of their lineup too. Hopefully, I think this month they said April
Yeah,
they were going to release more
April.
bands. So,
Yeah, we'll see.
Run out of the days pretty
All
soon.
right.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We'll talk to you
All
next
right.
week.
Peace.